No, I like this one.
Okay.
My head's too big for that one.
Hey, this is your stick here. I'll put it there right next to you.
All right.
Yeah.
And the Mus'haf is here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You may need to move that back a little bit.
Let me move the laptop back.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I
We're
got
still
it.
good with the camera though, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to use notes for this lecture. Yeah, this is good. All right. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته ما شاء الله I get two chances to be with you this Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, usually, we only get one. But this year, Muhammad Qadi, brought me back twice. You okay?
Yeah.
We're good with can y'all hear me? Yes. All right, mashallah. So, but the one thing that you have feedback.
Yeah,
You're the CBC sound guy, bro. You wanna help us out here? So, I haven't seen my brother Sheikho in a long time, so I have to tease him just a little bit. But we're glad to see him again after a while. The thing is,
Yeah, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
The lecture on the 11th is an advice from a father to a son. So when the brothers contacted me to do the one today, I didn't realize that it's going to be the first day of Ramadan. So I automatically gave them the second part to that, which is advice from the son to the father. So the topic really doesn't have a whole lot to do with Ramadan, but it does have a lot to do with da'wah though. And I think that's very important, especially in this month of Ramadan. Because now everyone is talking about us, aren't they? Islam is the most publicized way of life on the planet. Alhamdulillah. We don't pay for banner ads. We don't pay for YouTube ads. We don't pay for anything. And they can't seem to stop talking about us. Right? Is that right? Yeah. MashaAllah. Stay awake, brothers. You only got a couple more hours, inshallah. You'll be opening your fast very soon. Just give me a little bit more time, inshallah. You're going to be okay. So, since we're the most talked about way of life on the planet, I think it's very important that we talk a little bit about one of the best da'is on the planet that ever lived. And he was doing this, giving da'wah, before it was cool to do so. And his name, of course, was Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And the first person that he gave da'wah to, of course, as we know, was his dad. His dad was an idol worshipper. Is that right? Not only was he an idol worshipper, idols were the family business. So, you okay?
Got it. You're good now.
You sure?
Yeah.
You make me nervous, huh?
No, sorry.
I can't see out the side of my eyes. I gotta look this way and look at you. They're gonna think I can see that. I can't see at all. I'm just teasing them. So, idol worship wasn't only a tradition for Ibrahim and for Ibrahim's dad, I should say, not Ibrahim. It was a family business to do that. So Allah, alhamdulillah, gave Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam this message, and the first person he went to, of course, was his dad. Now it's interestingly enough, Allah has said to us, وَذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِنَّهُ كَانَ صِدِيقًا نَبِيًّا. So Allah is telling us a little bit about Ibrahim alayhi salam first. Because it's very important that the da'i is someone who can be trusted. Someone who can be trusted. Don't think that you're going... Because I had a brother who came to me when I was in high school. I don't normally talk about him. But he came to me when I was in high school and he was, smoking weed and drinking and doing all the partying and all that stuff. But he had an Arabic name. And I asked him if he was a Muslim. And he said, yes, but don't listen to me because I'm going to hell. Which was very honest of him. But this is the whole point of the da'i. He should at least try his best or her best to be someone who can be trusted. Muhammad ﷺ was who? What was his name? Huh? He was what? He had an attribute that they used to call him. Siddiq, Ameen. He was trustworthy, he was truthful. Everybody knew that. And of all the things that they accused him of, they never accused him of being a liar. Like that. Did they? They said he was possessed. They said he was a sorcerer. They said all these different things about him. They never said that he was a liar. All the time he was trustworthy, he was truthful. And Ibrahim was the same. He was إِنَّهُ كَانَ صَدِيقًا نَبِيًّا. So Allah is telling us about that. إِذْ قَالَ لِأَبِيهِ يَا أَبَتِي. He went to his dad. And he said to him, oh my dad. He didn't say, and this is very important as well, how we address our parents. Sometimes you will know something that they don't know. But how do you address them? Hey, old man. Do you call them like that? Some cultures, that's how you address your dad. My dad, my goodness, I can't imagine calling my dad like that. As a Muslim, as a non-Muslim, sure. As a Muslim, I can't imagine calling my dad like that. Ya abati, oh my dad, oh my father. It's a term of love, abati. I don't even know if I hear people calling their dads like that now. Abati. لما تعبد ما لا يسمع ولا يبصر ولا يغني عنك شيئا. Bro, you're making me nervous, man.
Sorry.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm good.
You want to help? Let's help?
No, we're just doing something for you.
You sure?
Yeah.
Alright. Like real close. I feel like I'm at the airport. But that's the funny thing. In the airport, the airport security, most of them are Muslims. Did you know that? When you go through the scanners and the metal detectors and stuff, that's why this whole thing is funny to me, right? Because they're hiring us to protect us from us. You go to the airport and watch. You'll see Muhammad, Abdullah, Abdurrahman, Bilal, and I know that because a lot of them saw my lectures, right? And I'm like, okay, bro, I'm good. They scan you, bro. I saw your YouTube videos, and I'm like, how? We're Muslims. So it's funny. They hire us to protect us from us. Anyway, لما تعبد ما لا يسمع ولا يبصر ولا يغني عنك شيئا. Why do you don't worship something that can't hear you, can't see you, and can't benefit you? Now the funny thing is that they were getting some form of benefit, but that's not what he was talking about. Because you and I all know that statues can't see you, right? Your desires can't hear you. As much as you want something, you can't make it happen without the permission of Allah. You can work pretty hard at it, but you can't make it happen. And no matter how much you love your money, it doesn't actually enrich you. In fact, some people are so poor that all they have is money. Isn't it? Millionaires, and honestly, some of the most generous people that I've met have been some of the most quote-unquote poorest people that I've met over the years. And not to say that wealthy people can't be generous, that's not true either, because also I've met some very generous wealthy people. But overall, some of the most arrogant people that I've ever met globally have been some of the wealthiest. So, wealth doesn't enrich you unless it's used for the sake of Allah. And Ibrahim is telling his dad, why do you worship something that doesn't see you, that doesn't hear you, and that doesn't enrich you in anything? Ya abati, inni qad ja'ani min al-ilm. I've received something ma lam ya'tika, that didn't come to you. And I made a mistake on that. For sure, I'm reading it too fast. فَاتَّبِعْنِي أَهْدِيكَ صِرَاطًا سَوِيًّا. Do you ever learn from your kids? Brothers, you have kids? You learn from them? Some cultures, it's interesting, right? Because I went to my mom when I took my shahada, and I talked to her a lot. I was brand new in Islam. I didn't know anything, and reverts can kind of relate to that in a lot of cases. Even practicing Muslims can, because if they come from families that don't practice as much. So I'm talking to my mom, and I'm talking to her, and it's years. Decade, over a decade, mashallah. And I, blessed to be able to get married and bring my wife from overseas. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, she came back in 2012. So my mom comes to visit, she wants to meet her daughter-in-law, right? So I go to the masjid and I come back and I gave the khutbah in front of a few hundred people, as has been normal for me. I come back and my wife says, guess what? Your mom took shahada. I'm like, what? And at first I got mad a little bit because it's like, I've been talking to you for how long? And you my wife, comes here and all of a sudden she gives you the shahada like that, just like that. She said, I used to change your diaper. I don't have to listen to anything you have to say. Well, the cool thing is that I gave my wife shahada too before that, so I still get the ajr. But it just made me think about these ayat. Like sometimes you gotta just listen to your kids. Sometimes just listen to them. They may know something you don't know. Ibrahim was like that with his dad. He knew something that he had knowledge from Allah that didn't come to his dad. Brothers, sometimes your kids can teach you a lot of things. Don't be closed-minded to not listen to them. I learned a lot from my youngest daughter. A lot. I learned from all of them. But Nusayba, my youngest, mashallah, man. She's... if anyone's going to do this after me, it's going to be her. I remember I had her mention all the holidays of the non-Muslims. She's Christmas, and Valentine's Day, and Halloween, and Easter, and this, and this, and this, and that. So I said, that's great. You know all of the holidays of the other people. What do we get? What do the Muslims get? She goes, the Muslims don't get nothing. So I said, wow, I've really missed the boat on teaching her about Eid and how important it is. Ramadan, how important it is. Hajj, how important these days are for us. So I learned from her that you know what, you need to step up and teach us about these things. Now, of course, she knows, and we try our best to make it special, but don't have a closed mind when it comes to learning from your kids. Don't think that you know it all just because you lived longer. You living longer isn't even in your control. Right? Who decides when you die? Allah decides when you die. So you living longer doesn't necessarily mean you know more. Not necessarily. It just means that you've been here longer than them. So don't be like the people who don't want to listen to their kids and learn from their kids. Should they be respectful? Sure, absolutely. That's not the point. But don't be so closed-minded that you miss things, because sometimes you could learn from them. They can teach you about the society that you live in because they actually live in it. They go to school here. They learn about what the life is like here. So kids can actually teach you a lot if you pay attention. And Ibrahim is telling his dad that, something came to me that didn't come to you. فَاتَّبِعْنِي, obey me in that. Now that's hard for us. That's very difficult for us. فَاتَّبِعْنِي. But I want to ask you a question. If your son knows more Quran than you, who should lead the salah? Your son. Thank you. Who said that? What's your name, brother? Ahmed. How old are you, bro? 11. See, he's 11. He taught y'all. See? MashaAllah. I know someone else said it too, but I wanted it, He's my younger brother, so Jazakallah khair. He should lead the salat. If he knows more than you, he should lead the salat. Right? How many of us would actually do that, though? That's the question. Because in leading the salat, we have to obey him. When he goes to ruku', we have to go into ruku'. When he goes into sujood, we have to go into sujood. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam knew more than his dad, and his dad was obligated, as Ibrahim was the messenger of Allah, to obey him. And that's very difficult for many of us. But what's going to happen if you obey him? فَاتَّبِعْنِي أَهْدِيكَ صِرَاطًا سَوِيًّا. I'm going to lead you to a right path. And of course, obeying Ibrahim is going to get us into where? Jannah, right? Inshallah. Of course, now it's Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Ibrahim, if he was alive today, he would be obeying Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Which is ironic, since Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his grandson. a lot of generations removed, right? Isn't that ironic that he's given da'wah to his father, but if he was alive today, he would be obeying Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is his, great, however many great grandson. So that's what he says to him. He said, obey me. I will lead you to a righteous way. Ya abati, la ta'budi shaytan. Inna shaytana kana lil-rahmana asiyya. Ibrahim was not politically correct. Right? Don't worship shaitan. He didn't name all the different idols and statues and whatever. He just said, La ta'budi shaitan. Because if you're not worshipping Allah, who are you worshipping? Huh? Shaitan, right? I mean, really. Isa ibn Maryam, he didn't say to worship him. He didn't say that. So he's free from what the people say. So those ideas of worshipping a man are not new. They're not new. They came along in the time of Nuh والسلام, and they were inspired by whom? Shaitan. Now, do we have to be polite to people? Should we be polite? Of course. Being polite is part of it. The people have the right to worship who they wish, as they wish. But only Allah can give us Jannah. And if all of the faiths were the same, we would just pick the easiest one. Wouldn't we? The one that doesn't involve us not eating for 30 days. Right? The easiest one. But it's not about easy all the time. It's about pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Ibrahim alayhi salam was straight without being rude. Because he didn't call him an idiot. You know how stupid you are, you're worshipping shaitan? You know how stupid that is? He didn't say that. He said, Ya abati, la ta'budi shaitan. Oh my dad, who I love very much, who I take my lineage from, who along with my mom gave me life, la ta'budi shaitan. Don't worship shaitan. Inna shaytana kana lil-rahman asiyya. That verily that shaitan is the enemy to Allah, who is ar-Rahman. So yes, he can be polite without being rude, but be straight as well. Don't say, you just be good and everything is fine, and worship the trees and the stones and the tables. It's okay. You're going to be fine. It's not that way. Inna dina inda Allahi Islam. Well, all a table is cut up trees, right? Really, this one isn't, but I mean most of them are. You take a tree, chop it into pieces, it's a table. So when you worship a tree, you're worshiping a table prematurely. Alright? Ibrahim was not politically correct, but he wasn't rude. And then he says, Ya abati inni akhaf. I'm afraid. I'm afraid for you. It means I love you so much that I'm afraid that something is going to touch you. Adhab min rahmah. A punishment from Allah. If you take shaitan as your wali, as your guardian. One of the interesting things of shaitan and Iblis is that he cannot force himself to be your guardian. You have to actually take that. He can whisper to you, but he can't force himself into you. Can he? Can he force you to obey him? Nope. He can certainly whisper to you. And even says that on Judgment Day, he says, Inni akhaf Allah. I'm afraid of Allah. And I know what you don't. And he'll abandon the people that follow him. So it's very important, especially for the younger brothers that are here, and the older ones, that just because you can justify things doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. And Ibrahim ﷺ said simply, I'm afraid, I fear for you, I love you very much, my dad. I'm afraid for you. I don't want something to happen to you. I don't want a punishment from Allah to touch you because of taking shaitan as your guardian or your wali. But then Ibrahim's dad has had enough. He's had enough, that's it. We're done. You told me all this stuff. You talk bad about my gods, as he says in the ayah. Do you curse our gods, Ibrahim? Is that what you're doing now? Which he didn't do that, by the way. He just talked about them for what they are. They can't see you, they can't hear you, they can't benefit you in anything. In actuality, worshipping them is an idea inspired by shaitan. Nowhere in these ayat did Ibrahim curse the gods of the people. He didn't curse them. He just said what they were. We love Isa ibn Maryam, is that right? We love him, right? But is he God? Huh? No one's saying anything. Is Isa God? No. He's an amazing person. He's an incredible prophet. He's an incredible human being who was born from a virgin, but he's not a God. And saying that about him isn't diminishing his status because he also never said it. So Ibrahim is telling his dad, he's describing these idols to his dad, that they don't hear you, they don't see you, they don't benefit you in anything, and worshipping them is an idea that didn't even come from them, it came from shaitan. So Ibrahim is saying, Ibrahim, like, are you cursing our gods? And if you don't stop it, I'm gonna kill you. I'm going to stone you to death, kill you. Can you imagine having your dad say, and mean it, I'm going to kill you? This ayah specifically, there are reverts, new Muslims, new shahadas, that go through this on a daily basis. Did you know that? That their parents, when they become Muslim, their parents hear about that. Not all the time. My parents didn't do that to me. Alhamdulillah. But they want to kill them. Like literally. They kick them out. You see videos of brothers and nuns sleeping on like bus stop benches and stuff because their parents don't have no, use for them anymore. They offer them amazing. I know one brother who his father offered to buy him a condo and pay it if he would only leave Islam and go back to what they were before. Can you imagine that? You're brand new in Islam. You're brand new. Your faith is small. Someone comes to you and offers you basically the world because y'all know what it's like to have to pay for a place. Especially if you have mortgages, 20 and 30-year mortgages. May Allah protect us. You pay it off just in time to die. Right? Which is actually what the word means. Mortgage is a French word for death contract. Did you know that? So this brother here, he's a friend of mine. He was offered something huge to leave Islam. And he refused it. So that he could live basically way under the poverty line. May Allah give him more if he hasn't already. I haven't seen him in a while. When I first came to Toronto, me and him shared a bedroom that is about the size of the office. Right? We had 2 mattresses in there and that's all that could fit in there. And he would tell me that story. So Ibrahim's dad is telling him, listen, if you don't stop this, I'm going to kill you. Now the difference is that Ibrahim didn't have a community to go to. But then again, some of the reverts don't have that either. A lot of the new brothers and a lot of the new sisters don't really have that to go to. There's not a whole lot of new Muslim mentorship in the city. There's people here and there in little groups doing something, but there's not a whole lot of that here. And I want to just tie this topic into Ramadan because now you're going to have a long month of fasting and enjoying yourselves with your Muslim families. And there are a lot of us that don't have that. Those of us who are unmarried, those of us who are brand new in Islam, those of us, the brothers, mashallah, who come in and they don't have anyone, try to look for them and try to invite them and try to talk to them. Because Ibrahim had nowhere to go, but he was the messenger of Allah. And we don't live up to that standard, and we don't live by ourselves, as Allah called Ibrahim an ummah by himself. He was a nation by himself, and Allah took Ibrahim as a friend. Khalilur Rahman was Ibrahim. Is that right? So now, my advice to you, and to tie this in, because it is Ramadan, try to look for these people. Try to look for the new Muslims. Look for your brothers and your sisters who may have actually lost their entire families because of saying a very simple phrase that you say every day, and that's La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. It's a very real struggle that many of us face. Alhamdulillah, like I said, I didn't have to do it. but a lot of people do. And they end up sometimes leaving Islam because of the pressure of that. A study was done by Islamic Education and Resource Academy in the UK, IERA. You guys know who IERA is, right? Some of you? And they said that 70% of new shahadas leave Islam in the first year. Did you know that? Because of this. It's pressure. Your whole family wants to get rid of you. They don't want you to become Muslim, so they would rather, in some cases, they'd rather kill you. That's a lot of pressure to leave the people that you've grown up with and not have them in your life anymore. So people leave, and there's no mentorship for new Muslims. Very little, like I said. But how did Ibrahim reply? قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكِ. You want to kill me? You want to end my life? You want to stone me to death because I rejected your idols? I'm going to wish you peace anyway. سَأَسْتَغْفِرَ لَكَ رَبِّي. I'm going to ask my Lord to forgive you. إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِي حَفِيًّا. He didn't call him a kafir, dirty, idol-worshipping guy. He didn't do that. Ibrahim a.s. didn't do that. He didn't swear at his dad. He didn't break the house apart. He didn't destroy the place. Salamun alayk. Alright, you know what? Let me just go. You want to kill me? I'm very sorry about that, but let me go. Sometimes we as new Muslims need to learn how to respond as well. And this is where I'm going to, after I've made them very happy, I'm going to make them upset. Because we sometimes don't know how to respond. We're brand new, and I'm one of them. That's why, my mom didn't listen to me right away. When you come into Islam, you need to understand that you don't know everything. When you're newly practicing, brothers, you don't know everything. You may know a little bit more, but you don't know everything. And Ibrahim a.s., we hear these stories of new brothers coming into Islam, and I know one brother who, his family had a dog. Right? And that's what they do here. They have dogs. Big dogs, small dogs. They dress them up in boots and hats, and I think the dogs must hate that because he's already dressed. Imagine putting on 3 jackets in July. You already have the jacket. You were born with it. Allah gave it to you. And now this person's putting on some Gucci, jacket on you. I think dogs would be upset. I wonder, I wish one could talk. Just one. Tell the people not to be putting clothes on something that already has clothes on him. Anyway, so this brother, he takes his shahada and he becomes Muslim and stuff. And someone tells him that, your family has a dog. The malaika doesn't enter the house with the dog. Hadith, right? Is that hadith? So he goes home, and what does this brother do? Takes the dog in a car, goes to the woods, leaves it there. So now the family is upset. They're calling the masjid. They're angry at their son because he took their family, which a lot of the people treat their dogs like kids, don't they? Took their family pet, who was a member of the family, and brought it into the forest and left it there. So then, the new Muslim gave the dalil, and he said, listen, we don't allow dogs in Islam. He said, yeah, but it's not your house. That's what we told him. It's not your house. Get your own house, then you don't have to worry about dogs or rabbits or anything. Ibrahim a.s. responded to his dad peacefully. Salamun alayk. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to ask Allah to forgive you. Astaghfirullah Rabbi. Now, eventually, he wasn't allowed to do that, but that was the ayah right there. I'll ask Allah to forgive you. But you can ask Allah when you are a new Muslim to guide your parents. Or if you're newly practicing, then you can ask Allah to let your family be practicing. And I'll tell you something, and this is a very important statement that I said many years ago, that has been copied and retweeted all up and down the world now. They don't put my name on it, but Allah knows. If your Islam makes you obnoxious, makes you aggressive, makes you irritable, makes you angry with the people, then know that you're not practicing Islam. Islam doesn't make you like that. It shouldn't anyway. So Ibrahim wasn't rude, he wasn't aggressive, he wasn't obnoxious. He just said it straight up. He said, I'm going to ask Allah to forgive you. And he said, وَاعْتَزِلُكُمْ وَمَا تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. I need to leave off what you associate with Allah. So he was very, very clear on that, without being rude. I want you to check these ayat, and is there any place where Ibrahim was rude so far? Nope, there wasn't, right? Was he rude at all? In these ayat? Nope. But he didn't dance around things. He didn't say things like, we have God and they have gods, and that's okay because all the gods are the same, and all the gods are not the same, and he wasn't saying that. But he wasn't rude about it. He said, I'm leaving, I'm out of here. You guys do what you need to do, but I'm out of here. And sometimes that's necessary to a certain degree. Respectfully, though. And that's where it comes down to your da'wah being mannerly. You can disagree without being personal. And now there's a time where people, especially now, will try to make you upset. Won't they? Especially if you guys go on the internet. There's a lot of keyboard trolls on the internet. Some of them are Muslims, some of them are not. But their goal and objective is to try to make you angry so that you say things that you shouldn't say. And now, of course, you're fasting in this month of Ramadan, and one of the characteristics of the believer, كَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ, as I said last time I was here, that they control their anger. It's not that you don't get angry, but you control your anger. When they say things about Allah that they shouldn't say. When they condemn your sisters just for covering themselves. When they talk about the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he is the Messenger of Allah, and he is free from everything that they say about him anyway. That we're supposed to be straight. Yes, don't agree with it, but be polite. And sometimes your silence will fill a room a lot more than your speech will. A video came on my YouTube feed today, earlier, and it was this person who, he's a quote-unquote white nationalist. I don't know what that means. I just call them what they are, and that's racist usually. It's funny how they use these words to describe themselves. White nationalist. It sounds so nice, right? Doesn't it sound nice? He's a white nationalist. Wow. But the problem is in the wrong nation, because white nationalists don't come from here. They usually come from Europe, which is the white nationalist capital of the world. These are white nationalists living over here. They're just called racists, is what they're called. Anyway, so he's talking all this stuff about Muslims. All these nonsense about the meaning of Allah and all this different foolishness. And I'm listening to him and I'm thinking, okay, you know what I should do? I should share this because this is why da'wah is so important. So you know how you copy the link? And you copy it and you get to the point where you're going to share it and you think, and then I had another thought to myself. I said, maybe that's what this white nationalist wants me to do. Because what's going to happen if I share this with my network? It goes to everyone. And my fan page, A'udhu Billahi min Kalimat Ana, has 18,000 people. It ain't that much, but it's more than him. My Twitter has 6,000 people. It's not that much, but it's more than him. So now this white nationalist, racist, message gets to go all over the world to Muslims. Wouldn't it be better for me just to talk about how important da'wah is without giving these people credibility? When you comment on something, when you write about something, everyone gets it. And sometimes that's what they want. You know how you promote a movie? Make it about us. Because we will flip out. We'll actually pay to go see it. We don't pay to go to the conferences. Right? The conferences are too expensive. But you make a movie about terrorism, Muslims are going to take up the whole theater. Right? They put a sample of the Quran in a song. And the people who listen to it the most are us. They know how to get you upset. They draw cartoons of someone whom they've never seen. And you get upset about that. Not you necessarily. We get upset about that. But you know what's interesting? You know what's funny about that? We've never seen him either. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So we get angry about something that really is silly for us. Because they've never seen Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you've never seen Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I've never even seen you. I can make fun of blind people, you can't. But you can laugh at it though. But see, this is the funny thing. They know how to get you upset. You hear the answer of Ibrahim when he says that. And this is probably the biggest one for you and for us all. Salamun alaykum. You threaten my life, it's okay. You want to end my life? Fair enough. Whatever. Allah is the one who's going to end it anyway. But I'm going to tell you, قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ سَأَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكَ رَبِّي إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِحَفِيًّا. You know, there was one brother who, he got me to do something. And it was very interesting. Because it was someone who was sending me weird messages and bad messages and stuff. So I said, how should I respond to him? He said, just say 3 words. 4 words. No matter what he says, just say 4 words. Y'all ready for the 4 words? You ready? This is going to be good. You're going to enjoy this. Thank you for sharing. Just keep saying thank you for sharing. And the more I said thank you for sharing, the more angry this person got. And the more I laughed. Thank you for sharing. You know, your prophet said, thank you for sharing. You know, your book, the Quran says, kill this and this. Thank you for sharing. You know how Saudi Arabia, I'm not even from there, Saudi Arabia abuses women, thank you for sharing. You know, see, you're laughing too. It was the best conversation I think I've ever had in my life. All I kept saying was thank you for sharing. That's it. No matter what he sent a lot of messages. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, please send another one. Please send another one. Just keep. And I would wait. You know how you wait with your phone? You sit there like this. I was doing this. I can't even see, and I was doing this. Come on, man. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. And he would send something else, and I would just paste. Thank you for sharing. And send it. It became hilariously fun to me. And that's all I would say. And eventually, he left. But the thing is that it's some people didn't want da'wah, and he didn't want da'wah anyway, he just wanted to vent. That's all he wanted to do was yell at me for whatever reason. So I just kept telling him, thank you for sharing. Some people are curious and they want to know, and you can usually tell them by their messages and by what they say. But when it gets down to threatening your life, then you have to leave. Like Ibrahim did. I'm out of here, man. You guys do your thing. وَاعْتَزِلُكُمْ وَمَا تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. I'm out of here. Y'all do what you need to do. But I'm out. Because that's sometimes important. You need to leave for your own sanity. You know? And and he says at the end, maybe Allah will answer my prayer for you. And that's it. But then what did Allah give Ibrahim at the end? This da'wah isn't easy. It's not. And I do it full time. Alhamdulillah. From 1998 until now, I've been doing this. And like Muhammad Qadi said, I'm not really knowledgeable like that, but there's certain things that I learned over the years and I just share them with people. That's all it is. I'm not a sheikh, I'm not a scholar, I'm not an alim, I'm none of those things. I'm just a speaker that has a very good memory. Alhamdulillah. And I've been blessed to travel up and down this planet. Every continent, alhamdulillah, except Antarctica. Ain't no people there anyways, are there? It's a bunch of white nationalists in there. Because we're the only people crazy enough to go there. I'm not even going there. Alhamdulillah. I'm more comfortable in Africa than I am in cold. But if they ever did build a masjid there, I'll go. I'd go. White nationalists or not, I'd go. Open a kebab restaurant in Antarctica. They'll have to go to Mars then. They'll get upset. But the whole point of it is that when you're doing this, expect difficulties. But learn the stories of the prophets. Whether you do this full time or whether you just talk to your co-workers. Whether you're just trying to talk to your family, whether you're convincing your wife to take shahada if she hasn't already done so, whether you're in front of an audience of 1,000 people. At the end of it, look at the end result. Ibrahim lost his family. He lost his father. Right or wrong? Is that right? His dad didn't take... Is that right or no? He did. His dad never entered Islam. But every prophet that came after Ibrahim came from him, from those two sides. Ishaq and Ismail. Amazing, incredible people. Ishaq, Yaqub, Ismail, of course, Yusuf, Musa, Dawood, Sulaiman, kings came from Ibrahim. Messengers of Allah came from Ibrahim. Isa ibn Maryam, the person who we were talking about earlier, came from Allah, came from Ibrahim. Excuse me. And the best of all of them came from Ibrahim. That, of course, is Muhammad sallallahu wasallam alayhi. Don't just look at this place as being the end of everything. It isn't. It's only the beginning. And the best is when your work, in Ibrahim's case, his da'wah, is allowed to live after you've passed away. That's amazing. That's incredible. So sometimes you have to go through a little bit of hardship to get to something that's better than that. And Ibrahim was given kingdoms, literally. Because everyone now, after him, he gets the reward for that. The ones who follow him. He gets the ajr for that. Can you imagine that, akhi, that ajr? Can you imagine that? Like, of course you can't imagine it. Can't nobody imagine it. But there's ways that you can get that. Or similar to that. Because what if one person in this city learns about Islam? Either through you directly or through you indirectly. Meaning that when you support something, let's say if the masjid has a class, a dawah class, let's say, they have it here. And you're not really good at speaking, maybe English isn't your thing, or you're not a speaker. Some people are very shy. So instead of actually, going, you donate to it. Let's say you do that, you donate to it. You take $100, you reach here, $10, $50, whatever it is that you could afford. You reach in here, you take it out, and you put it in the box, and you walk away. One of those little kids, or one of those brothers, one of those sisters in that class, he goes and he, by the permission of Allah, gives someone shahada. And that person is just a little guy, just a regular guy. Picks up the Quran and starts to like what he reads in that Quran. Wow, this is amazing. I love it. I want to share this with people. And he learns. And he gets stronger in his knowledge. And that little person ends up traveling the whole world, giving lectures and giving people da'wah so that they could enter Islam as well. Who gets the ajr for that? You! All you did was reach in here. That's it, mashallah, with a good intention. That's the beauty of this. You don't have to do what we do necessarily. I speak because I'm broke. I can't reach in here. This is my talent. This is what I'm good at. Allah gave me the ability to do this. You don't have to necessarily do it. Alhamdulillah, I'm not broke. I don't want to make it look like that. I'm not. But it's like that's the whole point, is that you don't have to necessarily do what we do. You don't have to travel up and down the highways and airports and all these different... One person came to me and what did they say to me? They said, your job seems to be the most glamorous job in the world. I was like, really? Yeah, you get to travel everywhere. And I said, yeah. When you travel, when you think of traveling, you think of comfort, right? You think of just going to a place, and a nice hotel, a nice resort, mashallah. Cruise to the Bahamas, right? You don't think of 4 a.m. flights, coach. Getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning to get to the airport for 2:30 so that you can wait for them to open the airport security at 4, right? Because that's the only time that you can get to the airport. And then they're upset to be there, you're upset to be there. You fly into a city and you give the khutbah at that city, then you travel to another city, give another lecture there Friday night, then you do all of that until Sunday, and you fly on the red eye midnight and get at home by 7 a.m. You don't think of that. We've done that, I've done that several times. Right? So it's not glamorous, but the payout with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is amazing, because someone can come to you and say, I memorized Surah Al-Mulk just by listening to you. I'm good when I hear that. I'm happy. Ibrahim knew that, and that's why he reacted the way he did, and Allah gave him something incredible. So it is an advice from a son to a father, but it's da'wah one-on-one, really. Don't think short-sighted. Don't think, I don't want to pay $25 for the course. Don't think like that. You pay $30,000 to go to university. Why? Why? Why do you do that? Why? Of course. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying it's wrong, by the way. You know, like, but you're thinking ahead. Is that right? So you pay $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 sometimes, because you're thinking ahead. You're thinking, okay, once I've paid this $50,000, you know, inshallah, no OSAP, right? Inshallah. Right? Work at a falafel restaurant, y'all, but don't take OSAP if you can avoid it. You're thinking ahead. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to get out of this $50,000 and I'm going to get a better life for my family and I'm going to pay it back. Is that right? Okay. Why is it that it's so easy to think like that when it comes to matters of this life, but so difficult to think like that when it comes to matters of al-akhirah for us? We think 50,000, if you pay $50,000 to go to university, and you make $300,000 a year because of it, is that good? It's good, right? Is it guaranteed? Nope. It's not guaranteed. If you do something for the sake of Allah, is it good? Is it guaranteed? Yes, it is. So then, I'm not saying, by the way, you shouldn't plan your life. I don't like poverty. I don't like it. I don't think Muslims should be poor at all. Right? I don't believe that. Because the poor people, or the famous people the famous people talk about what the rich people do. So I can have 3 million YouTube videos if I want to. But if no one is actually, if I'm not able to give, then that's bad. I don't like that. I'd rather you be wealthy than not wealthy. Just prioritize. Look at the story of Ibrahim. Look at what Allah gave him. He was suffering a lot. And Allah gave him so much at the end. Don't think of this as something, permanent. It's not. Whatever it is that you put forward for yourself for the sake of Allah, you will find it with him. And Ibrahim did that. And he suffered a lot for it. He lost his father. His father never took shahada. His community tried to kill him. They tried to burn him alive. Right, didn't they? Threw him in fire. SubhanAllah. You ever been thrown in fire before? Nope. I hope not. I hope you never get thrown in fire. It's not like a hot shower, brothers. It's like fire. And when he was thrown in that, Allah made it a miracle and cooled him off. Ibrahim struggled. But look at what he received in the end. We're still talking about him thousands of years later. SubhanAllah. So prioritize. When you're living here, mashallah, prioritize. If you see the work being done, even if it is that you can't attend, just support it anyway. Right? I don't want to go to the Sharia class. Okay, just support it. Maybe someone does. Maybe they can't afford the $30 or whatever. I don't know if they do that here or not, but some places they do that. Some places they do it for free, hoping that you'll support it. If you can't, just say, okay, you know what, I can't go, but I'm going to help someone go. Because you're going to get the reward for that. My Quran teachers, when they first came to Nova Scotia, imagine, of all the places to go, Nova Scotia. I didn't even have a Quran that I could read at the time. This is dots. Can you read this? Can you read this? Brothers, read this? It's Braille, right? It's dots. They taught me how to read it letter by letter by letter by letter. Because they didn't know how to read it either. But the numbers in Braille are the same in Arabic as they are in English, so I could look for it that way. I found the numbers. So I could find Surah Al-Fatiha easily, like that. They spelled it and read it out, and I followed them along and I copied the letters and learned it that way. Now, who gets the ajr every time I open this book now? They do, right? They're not here. I'm not sure if they're here or not. They may be in Saudi Arabia, they may be here still. But every time I go travel, recite Quran on stages in every continent, I never knew that I would do that. It wasn't my intention. I just wanted to learn the Book of Allah. I never intended to do this. I never woke up in the morning and said, I would love to be a Muslim speaker. I just wanted to learn how to worship Allah. And it turned out that I got so excited about it that I ended up talking a little bit. And most of you guys know the story anyway. But they taught me. And subhanAllah, every time I open this Quran now, whether it be in the month of Ramadan or not, they're getting ajr. When I taught my wife Surah Al-Fatiha, they get the ajr. So do I, but so do they. When my kids pray their salat, they get the ajr. See how amazing that is? Tell them I'm busy if it's for me, okay? I'm in the middle of a lecture. Tell them to call me back later. So that's what's important. And I'm going to close with that because I know, it's getting down to the end of the day. But I want to just really think ahead. This advice from the father to son was indirectly a Dawah 101 class. Learn from the example of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Learn what he did, learn about his struggles, and learn what he suffered. And try to do something. Because it's not the time to be a spectator. When brothers are irresponsibly acting, and it could be fake and it could be real, when we're acting irresponsibly because we have no mentorship, it's not time to be a spectator anymore. It really isn't. If what you can do is little is better than nothing. Little is better than nothing. Don't look at the numbers. Don't look at, I can only give $5 to someone, or I can only do a little bit. Do a little. If that's all you can do is a little, do that. But don't sit and do nothing. Because 0 times a million is what? 0. You can multiply 0 by billions of times, it's going to be 0 all the time. Even if it's a little, Allah can make it a lot. So do that one. Jazakumullah kullu khairan. And I've gone a little bit longer than I had intended, but I'll be back on the 11th to talk about the advice from the father to the son. Alright, so Jazakumullah khair for hanging out with us and for coming out for a little while. There's dinner going to be here too. What time is it? 7:03. Oh wow, so you got like an hour. Alright, well, I don't want to mention dinner right now. That thing we do at iftar? They're going to be doing that inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. We could do questions if y'all want to. We could do questions inshallah if that's what we want. I'm not political, so we can do the questions.
Thank you for your time.
Jazakallah khairan, brother.
Thank you very much for your time.
Jazakallah khairan, bro. Are we doing Q&A or are we done?
Pardon?
Are we doing the Q&A? Do you have a question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
MashaAllah, very good.
Are we? We're done. MashaAllah. I've done my job, or I've put you all to sleep.
No, you did very well.
ذلك ما عندي وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
0:53:51.
53 minutes is not bad.
Shutter.